The Turkish Get Up is a goofy exercise you'll regret doing. Recently, somebody commented this on our channel. Now, is this true or not? Well, we're gonna find out in the video in a couple of seconds, and the result might be surprising. But before we get started, I have a gift for you. 30 days filled with kettlebell workouts for free. Check the first link in the description. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe here. This is not a Turkish Get Up tutorial. If you're interested in learning this exercise, stay tuned until the end of this video. The goal right now is to help you make an informed decision about the Turkish Get Up. So I'm going to share a few things about this kettlebell exercise if you're not sure whether you want to invest the time to learn it or not. So let's get started. The Turkish Get Up is a display of skill. I just recently reacted to a Turkish Get Up video from Onnit. There you could see a Highland Games champion who was struggling with a 24 kg get up. This goes to show that you have to understand the exercise first before you engage in it. The next important thing to mention is that the Turkish Get Up has a high learning curve. Unfortunately, it's not an exercise that is suited for beginners. This means it is harder to learn, which means you might make more mistakes than with a simple kettlebell deadlift, for example. Now, because it is an advanced exercise, the time it takes to learn means that you have to be equipped with a lot of patience. But it's not just patience that you need to learn the exercise. You already have to have a certain basic fundamental level of strength and fitness. Granted, if you're just starting out and you have a great coach, I believe he or she can teach you how to do a get up even if you have never touched a kettlebell before. It's probably not the wisest way to do, however. I think there are other exercises that lend themselves better for beginners to get started with kettlebells. So now let's talk about the risk to benefit ratio. It is higher than with another exercise, for example, a deadlift. There is something that we have to mention though. Every exercise can be dangerous if you don't know how to do it. If you lack the skill and you try it out, you probably make mistakes, and if you choose heavier weight, you might even hurt yourself. Even with the simple deadlift, if I'm rounding my back as I'm lifting the weight up, I'm doing a huge mistake, which can bite me in the butt further down the line. With the Turkish Get Up, however, the risk to benefit ratio may be skewed a little bit towards the risk side. One of the trickiest situations with a Turkish Get Up is to understand how to stabilize the shoulder, which is the most mobile joint that you have in your body. So you have to understand how to engage the muscles in your shoulder girdle in order to move down properly. Now, one of the biggest risks involved is that the kettlebell either drops down towards your face, God forbid, or that you're not able to stabilize the kettlebell anymore and that it drops somewhere to the floor, maybe to the side, away from your body, which can still lead to drastic injuries. And this just ties in with the fact that I've mentioned earlier. The Turkish Get Up remains an advanced exercise where you need a lot of practice and understand the choreography first before you start moving with weights. And if we stay on the choreography bit for a second, you want to understand that the Turkish Get Up is a combination of more exercises. For example, a reverse lunge. And many people have trouble with a reverse lunge, and now we have the weight overhead. So this is a overhead reverse lunge. Then we have a kneeling windmill. It's also an exercise that is not easy to do. And then at the end, we have to understand how to contract our abdominals in combination with our stabilizing leg to go down back to the floor. Then we have a press, and then the same thing as we work our way back up. While I do think that the exercise requires you to have some basic fundamentals of strength and fitness, it may also be that if you have been taught by a great coach, that the Turkish Get Up can also be your loaded yoga, which means if you're tight in the shoulders and your great coach is showing you how to move through the exercise or through the Turkish Get Up step by step, then at the end, it might be that you end up with not only a strong, but also a more mobile shoulder. Many people are tight here in the upper area. So the Turkish Get Up might be a solution, even though a little bit of an advanced one. Another powerful benefit of this exercise is how it opens your hips. Now, if we are in this position, this requires you to have good hip flexibility, mobility, and strength. And as we move down, it's the same thing. Especially as I want to go down on my back with heavier weights, I have to be able to really take my leg and place it outwards. And this again requires some great hip flexibility. So I am able to kill two birds with one stone. I'm able to open up my hips, but also make them stronger at the same time. The Turkish Get Up can also help you to improve your kinesthetic literacy. Kinesthetic literacy is a description of how well you are in tune with your body. Are you able to feel your shoulder girdle muscles? Are you able to contract your back and feel how it contracts? Are you able to really extend your hips, squeeze the glutes, and understand what this is all about? How well is your coordination? Are you able to have the body synchronized as you move through the exercise? So these are all powerful benefits that you can reap if you start with a Turkish Get Up or if you do this exercise. However, as mentioned again, you require maybe a good coach that he or she can teach you to go through the exercise step by step. So doing a little bit of a striptease here to show you the next point. The Turkish Get Up is also a great exercise, or I have to be a little bit more exact. The windmill part of the Turkish Get Up is a great exercise to strengthen your traps. This is the big muscle that's in between your back. So if you're able to strengthen this muscle, you are able to not only have a good looking back, that's one thing from the aesthetic point of view, but also maybe help you to walk around with a better posture. So as I go down, whether that's the windmill standing or whether that's kneeling, doesn't matter. You can see how I have to contract my lats and make sure my trap is working to really stabilize the kettlebell overhead. And this can lead to some great muscle growth and great postural stability. The Get Up can also be a SSP exercise. SSP means specialized physical preparation. And these are exercises that you are using or that your coach is designing for you in order to improve your sport skill so that you're better in your performance in your particular sport. This term, as well as this training philosophy, has been coined in Soviet Russia. So one thing that the Turkish Get Up mimics is a position where you lay on the ground and where you have to stand up under a load. And in fighting, MMA, jiu-jitsu, everywhere where you go down to the ground, this might be a great SSP exercise. If I move down from this position and now I have to stand up, I can be a little bit more faster with a little bit more swing and be able to teach my body how to stand up as I'm having this load that is in front of me. So imagine with me for a second if you want to stand up from a bottom position and you have to push somebody away and then be immediately ready in a fighting stance. This is why the Turkish Get Up lends itself very well. So as with every exercise, there are pros and cons, and I think it is a powerful exercise that, if done well and if done with a lot of skill, can give you a lot of benefit. And I still think that you don't have to do it at all. So now what I want to share is some insights from our experience that we have with people that come in here for a training and workout experience. Now, I mentioned in the beginning that the Turkish Get Up requires a lot of skill. And you might have a training philosophy that says, listen, if you don't have the skill, you don't even want to touch it. And I agree with this. Yet sometimes learning the skill requires a lot of thinking. And sometimes you have people walk inside in here who don't want to do a lot of thinking. They just need a good workout. And this is where the idea of skill versus training comes in. Sometimes people just want to get a good workout without having any particular skill or without having too much skill involved. I don't think it makes sense to train without any skill, and I think that the trainer has to teach a fundamental basic layer of the skill so that everybody can profit from, in our case, kettlebell training. But I also understand people who are overloaded and don't want to spend a lot of time and, in essence, not a lot of money to learn a particular skill. And with the Turkish Get Up, you just have to have a better kinesthetic sense and better kinesthetic literacy, so to speak, which requires more effort and more work on your part to learn it and to execute it safely. So if you belong to this category who says, listen, I don't want to spend too much time on the skill and I just want to train, I feel you 100%. And while I think it is important to mention, like I said just a couple of seconds ago, that we need a basic layer of understanding and skill, you can also have powerful and great benefits without the Turkish Get Up by engaging in a press, a squat, and a swing. So here's the next thing that you have to do. You have to like the video, consider subscribing, share it with a friend, and then watch this video. I told you in the beginning, if you're interested in learning the Turkish Get Up, you have to check out this video right here. It's a little longer, but I take it into detail when it comes to this powerful exercise. So go watch it right now.